start of any season is always a breathless affair. There's so much to learn with any new car, but this year it's difficult to describe just how much extra there is to learn. It's a very young design, a very young car in a very young set of regulations. Everywhere you look, you find performance, and we're learning how to get performance out of this set of regulations and hopefully to make this car more competitive. We've just been to a couple of tracks which are at the opposite ends of the spectrum. Bahrain, a track which puts pretty much the most demands on the rear axle of any of them, and China, the opposite, where the front axle, front graining, front understeer is the dominant feature of the track. The performance we saw at China, was that the real performance of the car, or was the Bahrain one? In fact, it's a mistake to think in those terms, because it wasn't the same car at those tracks. Between Bahrain and China, we improved the car quite substantially. So even though the track characteristics changed, so did our car. And that's the key to having a successful season. You need to keep improving your car at every race. If we can do that successfully, bringing a meaningful amount of performance to every one of those races, then we will keep seeing a step forward. And that will describe the true F14 T, not one race or another. And we're very, very fortunate here at Ferrari to have two such good drivers, two drivers with an impeccable pedigree. With Fernando, we've seen, as always, an extraordinary level of performance, scavenging every possible point at every possible opportunity. And we have to say thank you to him for what he's managed to do with the car so far this year. We have to say thank you also to Kimi, who is working extremely well with this team, collaborating with his engineers, with the other car across the garage, and helping us to drive this car forwards, helping to show us where it's weak and helping us to make it stronger. He has class written all over him, and we know that within a very short space of time, we'll also be seeing the results in the track. So until that starts happening, and until we deliver both our drivers a car that they can really put to work on the track, we're just very fortunate to have these guys helping us drive the program forward.
Driving style means the way a driver controls the car. A Formula One is very rigid to optimize downforce. But this high downforce means that when we brake in a very specific way. We brake very hard at the beginning of a corner and we come off the brakes as the car is approaching into the corner. If a driver can brake just a meter later without making a mistake, that can have a big influence into the lap time. There are two types of driving styles. One is drivers who are very aggressive with the steering wheel and also very aggressive with the throttle, how they apply the throttle, and other drivers who are very smooth, always turning just the right amount and being very smooth with the throttle. A Formula One car has so much grip that this involves overlap. Overlap means that at the same time as you're braking into the corner, you're already at some point applying the throttle at the same time as you are on the brakes. The moment the Formula One car reaches the apex, you want to be very early on the throttle, of course keeping always the perfect line. Oversteer, that's when the front turns too much. To correct that, you can do opposite lock. Understeer, that is when the front of the car is running too wide. There's two ways to solve understeer. One is coming off the throttle and another one is just applying more steering into the car. By nature, a driver operates on instinct. But also, a driver needs to be very intelligent, using all the data available to improve his driving style. But on overtaking, instinct is the most important aspect. This year, with the new power units, driving techniques will have to change again, with instructions from the pit wall being more important than ever.